Hey, it's meteorologist J.B. Singleton. It's Saturday night about 9:54 as I record this. It may be later when you watch it, but I did want to show you several things going on all around our area and around the world on this side of the planet anyway. We've got a lot to talk about in the tropics. We've got a lot of snow, a lot of wintry weather going on across Montana. It's still snowing right now in Nebraska and South Dakota into Wyoming. This will be part of our weather story in the east as we go, especially in the mid-Atlantic area, as we go into our Thursday and Friday, and so will the tropics. Now in between, we've got a system coming through tonight. Rain developing right now, and I'm going to talk in depth about that here first, but I do want to kind of tease you down here. You can see down to the south, this is tropical depression number 28, set to become Zeta. If it gets a name here, we think it will over the next 24 hours or so, and that is about 6 down, I think, on the Greek alphabet, so it's not the end of the Greek alphabet, you know, it's different. So I think it's the 6th storm down on the Greek alphabet, which will tie it, already ties it there if we get to Zeta on the amount of named storms we've had ever in the Atlantic Basin. That ties it with 2005, I believe. So this is the weather pattern. You've got one branch of the jet stream here. This is the polar branch that's going down here as we expect to see with La Nina. This is very La Nina-ish. Very active jet stream from Idaho and Montana, again, into the northern plains here where it's snowing to beat the band, up to 17 inches of snow with this pass system in Montana and Idaho. That's now emerging off the Rockies here, out of the northern Rockies into the northern plains, and it's going to scoot across like this. You've got a southern branch here, which is going across Southern California into Texas, and then a bit of a dip, enough to pick up moisture here across Georgia into the Carolinas. Now, a couple of things actually going on. This isn't entirely the southern branch. It looks like it, but there's actually a backdoor front, which is coming down from the north, courtesy of the northern branch here. So you can actually see these wind arrows pointing the direction the wind's blowing in. And you can see how we've already got that backdoor front now snaking in from D.C., going in across Richmond and nearing the south side area. This front is the catalyst for yet more precip as this wave of energy aloft overruns it. So underneath it, we've got the backdoor front coming in. It acts as a slope to induce more clouds and precip, and then you've got over top of that, you've got this area of disturbed weather, upper level divergence, and you can see how the upslope flow is getting some rather heavy rain going in the North Carolina foothills. And I can show you that now. This is the direct radar feed. It's not going to be current by the time you watch this, but just to give you an idea of what the trend is, and I also wanted to show you where the front is being analyzed. You can also see a lot of lightning. This is elevated convection that's coming out as a result of impressive upper level dynamics, but also a lot of temperature contrast there. So getting some impressive returns on the GSP radar out of the upstate of South Carolina. And I'm showing where the front is because I do think right near the front and just north of it is where we're going to see our more impressive rainfall as we go through the night. Now, the front may snake its position a little bit. It may bow a little bit back to the south and eastern Virginia and back to the north across North Carolina. So it's going to put a good part of, I think, southwest Virginia, south and west of Roanoke, especially in the south side, going through the NRV, the Mountain Empire maybe, and then going Mountain Empire actually down here, maybe a little bit west of where the heaviest rain falls, but especially northwest North Carolina into the western Piedmont of South Carolina. This is an area that we'll have to watch for some very heavy rainfall later on tonight. In fact, the Weather Prediction Center has put out a mesoscale precip discussion. This is an area they're watching for possible hourly rainfall totals of 2 to 4 inches. So it's 2 to 4 inches an hour. Possible through midnight over the next couple of hours, and that may be extended a little bit later into the night, at least what they're watching. This doesn't include any flash flood watch or anything like that because it's been 12 days since we've had rainfall in the Roanoke area. And Asheville, well, we're below normal in Roanoke for the month by a little bit, by about 4/10 of an inch. Asheville's below normal by about 1/10 of an inch for the month. Asheville's about right there. But the soil moisture is actually pretty wet still. So that's a little bit of a concern. We'll show you here just some stats I was looking up, and I was reading the discussion. I've got, the paper right here, and they're citing these soil moistures over the past 14 days. So you go a little bit deeper and you get the 14-day result, where you see the blue, the dark blue, that's 200% plus normal soil moisture, or precip rather, precip. Over the last 14 days. Now, if you look over the past 7 days, this is what I was really looking more at. It's a value that's a lot drier. So if you do 14, trying to get this to update here. I think it may have froze up on me. Yep, there it goes. And we'll go back in here. Put our counties on and our state borders. I'll go back in. Now this is observed precip. So let's go back to percent of normal. All right. So the past 2 weeks, you've got 150 to 200% normal soil, precip here from Western Carolina. But notice in the Roanoke area into Lynchburg, it's only at about, say, 50% of normal, maybe 75% of normal. So the cutoff here, the dividing area, seems to be Patrick County and south into the west, where we have the most concern. And in fact, that's where they've drawn their hatched area here, where they're looking at the threat for that heavier rainfall. But, over the past 7 days, it's been bone dry. This is only about 5 to 10% of normal. That's pretty crazy. So it's interesting to look at that from 2 different days. And you look at it the past 30 days, and it's right around normal, a little bit above normal here. So about 110 to 150% of normal. So what's that mean? Well, it means if it rains hard enough, we are going to still see some potential flooding problems overnight, mainly in isolated areas where those heavier downpours are concerned here. Now, if you look at the ground moisture, this is for right now. We are right around about 3/4 of about 75% to 100% of normal, but in North Carolina, it's a little bit above normal. So we've got dynamics in play. This is why we're seeing the lightning. We've got a good flow here at the mid-levels at around 10,000 feet. Good shortwave here showing up at 700 millibars. You can track them better at that level sometimes. The smaller shortwave show up better. You've got good relative humidities there, and you follow the wind arrows. That's right where the wind's coming from. So if you put that into our area, it looks like it's going to be a wet evening just from looking at that. Helps sometimes just to look at some of the dynamics here. There's some surface cape getting those showers and storms going, but if you look at the let's go to our most unstable cape. You can see that they've got values here being analyzed well into our area there. And you've got also a lot of, that's the lifted parcel level there. So coinciding to some heavier rainfalls is what the threat is for. This is coming right off the discussion, as I mentioned. Now, there's not strong winds, so there's not like a good transport of moisture into the area. There is at 700, as I just showed you. But if you go below, there's transport, but it's just not very strong. But the water values in the air, precipitable water values, are well over an inch. To nearly an inch and a half here across the upstate of South Carolina. So we are actually above where we should be for this time of the year on that. And so that continues to be a concern. Now, this is the rapid update cycle, takes us into the next several hours. The storms in North Carolina, the heavier rainfall will blossom into Virginia. You can see the fronts right through here. As I mentioned, that'll be a focal point for the rainfall. And then as you put it into motion here, if we go to about 2, 3 in the morning, it's going to be raining pretty good here across a good part of the area, and that will extend down into North Carolina as the rain redevelops. You're going to have upslope winds. You're going to have moisture moving in above that. Again, everything coming together for just a wet go of it tonight. And again, some of that rainfall is going to be heavy at times. Now, this is the one model that I'm looking at. It's the rapid update cycle. It's been more impressive on precip. This had it lingering more into Sunday, although this latest run here throughout the day has been lingering into Sunday. Now kind of just some spotty drizzle. But if you look at total precip off of this model, has it right around an inch to maybe up to 2 inches. This is for tonight's event going, through tonight. But if you look at just a couple of runs ago at 15Z, it looked like this. And we had values showing up on the modeling here well above 2 inches, so closer to 3 or 4 inches. And it's not going to show up tonight, of course, but just to show you that was the case. I think if I go to 9Z, so it's been trending down. Some of these runs have been quite bullish. I'm trying to find, yeah, there we go. That's the one I tweeted out earlier, 5.1 inches. But again, it's gone back down since then. So some of these models, again, showing a rather aggressive solution here. This is the new 0Z NAM. Shows the rain continuing tonight and some lingering drizzle tomorrow. So let's see what it has since it's hot off the presses here. 2.85 off the NAM for Roanoke tonight, going through Sunday. But you've got their Floyd County at 3.99. So it'll be interesting to see if we do see a convective band set up over some of these areas, especially right near the Blue Ridge tonight. If we had wet ground, this would guarantee us some flooding, but we just have relatively dry conditions and see the conditions again over the past 12 days. It hasn't rained in Roanoke other than just a trace. This is the hourly HER model, which again takes the storms in the southwest Virginia through midnight. And after midnight now, we continue to see more rain falling. That shifts off to the east. Showers and storms, a good bit of heavy rain develops around Greenville, North Carolina. And for much of the day on Sunday, it's just this east wind that'll keep that wedge in here for a good part of the day. Keep temperatures falling probably out of the 50s and into the 40s for a good many backyards out there. So this is aloft, and you can see that one little disturbance in blue barely showing up here on the height anomalies at 500 millibars. But the more impressive jet stream dip is where it's been snowing. And this is one of many that's been kind of going through that very similar path here. What will happen is the wedge scours out for Monday and Tuesday here in Virginia. This upper low will continue to deepen and dig, and there'll be some heavy snows just north of this low center across Colorado into Wyoming as this ejects and falls and digs down. That'll pump this ridge up here. You see it centered over Florida, but that'll send the warm weather back up to the north. Meanwhile, it continues to be cold here north of the Great Lakes, but we'll see the ridge continue through Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It begins to shift offshore on Thursday. And going into Friday and Saturday, it's a bowling ball of cold air aloft, which will probably feed some storms, but a good deal of upper-level divergence here over, again, our area. Western North Carolina, Southwest Virginia. This is for Thursday night and the Friday morning before it moves back out, and then it's replaced by yet more energy possibly here. So it looks like the blocking is getting going again as we go closer to November. We'll see if that verifies. But in the meantime, this is where the Weather Prediction Center has all the action. Again, tonight it's a rainy night, potentially stormy in some areas. Always have to watch for severe weather right along the stalled front. And again, that's going to be across the Carolinas. But you got high pressure here to the north, feeding that wedge for Sunday. So a miserable day Sunday after some heavy rain tonight. It's more or less just some light showers and a few sprinkles over your day on Sunday. Meanwhile, it's going to be pouring the snow down Sunday night. In Denver, going through Nebraska here, mixed precip from snow to showers and storms going from the warm to the cold here, from Texas all the way back into the Rockies here. And that system continues to just sit and spin. So there's going to be some really heavy snowfall amounts across the southern Rockies here. And then we've got a front coming east. Again, this is by Tuesday and Wednesday. That kind of dies out. So I still think it's going to be relatively warm. But here comes our tropical system now. Remember, I was showing you that. That's going to be Zeta. that gets mixed up in this system as it moves east and could merge with it, producing a super soaker near the area Thursday into Friday. It's a very similar setup to tonight, where you've got low pressure coming out of the Carolinas and meeting up with this wedge, developing wedge up to the north. So it'll be interesting to see if these two actually meet up, or are they separate entities. If they were separate, it could actually mean more rain because it would extend the time of getting the rainfall. You'd have the warm front, then the tropical system, than the cold front. So that could extend the rainfall a little bit and bring you some higher totals. And some of those totals could be up around 4 or 5 inches with this coming up Thursday and Friday. We'll talk more about that too. This is the Hurricane Center cone as of right now, going from a depression to a storm, Zeta, just brushing the tip of the Yucatan here as a hurricane possibly in the Gulf of Mexico. By 2 p.m. Tuesday. There's some cooler water up to the north here, and that's going to below 80 degrees, in fact. Right now it's over very warm water. But it'll be going across, again, the tip of the Yucatan possibly, and then strengthening back into a hurricane before it weakens probably if the more wind shear as the system gets picked up, and also cooler water. So it'll be a problem of mainly just moisture probably by the time it gets here, and that's typically what we worry about here. Not the wind at all, it's the moisture. But this is by 2 p.m. Thursday near Chattanooga, Tennessee. Right now, it is a very healthy looking system for a depression. In fact, very impressed with the convection right now. You can see the infrared satellite showing a blow up here. You still might have a low level swirl just to the east of this though. So you got to get those two to meet up before you get strengthening. But you know, right now I see the potential for this to get its act together. If we can maintain that convection tonight and let that low level center catch up with this, you know, we could definitely see this thing strengthen. These are the water temperatures, and it's way above normal here. This is not the anomaly, but it shows you the 80-degree line, which is right there in red. So you see it north of there. Once we go into later on in the week, past Tuesday, much cooler water here now showing up as we're now into fall. But our anomalies are, again, fairly impressive. That's where the system is down. That's why you see that on the satellite. It's going over that really warm water. And the models have it strengthening, but not too much here. Maybe up to around the Cat 1 storm right now. One model there hinting at a strong Cat 1. Then it goes back down. You can see the dive here as you go out with time here past 84 hours with that system getting absorbed. Zeta being absorbed in the jet stream. Track-wise, the GFS ensembles, you know, have a very wet track for us. That would put us on the east side of the system, which could mean severe weather in parts of the area across the southeast. You always have to watch for that, regardless of how strong it is in terms of sustained winds. Again, the moisture would also be more prevalent, I believe, on the east side of this system. But by that point, remember, it's going to also be combining with this system that's showing up days 3 through 7. This is the Weather Prediction Center. I want to show you their outlook. So this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday, Thursday. It looks like Thursday and the Friday is when the system moves east, and again, it's going to pick the storm up. And after that, it may go zonal here for a little while. We'll see, according to the Weather Prediction Center. Tonight, we are at about 250% of normal water in the air. So that always, usually, you know, that can produce, if you get the right dynamics, which we have, that can give you those heavier rainfall amounts. You can see that moving through the area. And then again, here comes, this will be where the front is. You can see that redeveloping up to the north with the really dry air in red. And here comes our tropical air getting into the system, getting into our area and combining, getting focused here as we go into Wednesday and into Thursday. And this is air that contains water of about 400% of normal. So this has me more worried about potential for flooding here based on that. If you look at the forecast CAPE off the GFS, and again, this is subject to change here, but as the system moves in, you've got kind of a backdoor front showing up, or a warm front across Virginia. You've got the occluded front probably right through Kentucky, and then the cold front showing up on the west side of this cape. So it's the pinching of the cape that I watch when I talk about severe storms. That's too much to kind of focus on for right now, but just in the general threat, index. I would put storms and severe weather up for the mid-Atlantic and the southeast for Thursday, and you have to watch that for maybe Friday as well, depending on the timing, but this has it going through a little faster. Either way, a lot of rain on the way. This is the UK Met model, and I like looking at that because in many cases it's the second most accurate model behind the Euro. This has our system. Let me go through. This is 850 millibar temps there, and overlaid, so you can see a lot of snow showing up on this model as well in the Rockies. And going out past Tuesday, Wednesday, nothing too impressive here. Then here comes Zeta at the bottom of your screen. Look at all the rain here as we go through Thursday across Virginia, out ahead of the system. And then Thursday night into Friday, a ton of rain. Lots of moisture here showing up. By Friday morning, the system is indeed east of the immediate area, but you may have to watch the Eastern Carolinas Friday and Eastern Virginia. By that time, over 4 inches of rain has fallen. In fact, so one last map I'm going to pop up. Let's see. The total preset, which is, wow, which is about 5 inches, 5 to 7, maybe 8 inches in the North Carolina mountains. That includes tonight's rain, but this also, factors in 4+ inches of rain coming up for Thursday and the Friday. A lot going on. Tonight, it's a story of heavy rainfall and potential flooding as this low moves up this stationary front. And then we've got another system coming up with some tropical influence from Zeta coming up Thursday into Friday. Have a good night.